Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everyone? I hope you're all doing well as usual. Sorry for being a bit late. I'm just 1.5 minutes late, but still, I don't usually like to be late. In any case, as mentioned, I hope everyone is doing well and had a fantastic weekend. So, if anyone is in the live chat, could you let me know that everything is well? The sound, the video, and yeah, just that. So everything should be fine. But hi Habib, hope you had a wonderful weekend. Enjoying the short. Looking forward to yet another very interesting. Thank you for the kind words, Jean-Pierre. I hope you're doing well as well. That was a rhyme, very bad one. Hello Roderick, hope you're doing well too, brother. So thank you guys for the quick chats. And with that said, what we'll do is, as always, we will start with the announcements, which will take a couple of seconds. We will recap what happened this week, and finally, we will dive into today's price action and what we can potentially expect this week. So, for the announcements, very quickly, if you want to trade with a 30% fee discount on Bitunix, this is a lifetime offer, okay? There's no catch, it's free. All you have to do is sign up with our link, which will be available down in the description of this stream. And finally, of course, if you want to get access to my imbalance indicator, which well helps me form these pretty accurate plans, the link is also in the description. It is available inside our courses at crypto.com. And with that said, we can hello Nuna. Nice Nuna, am I reading that right? I hope I'm reading that right. I hope you're well. First time I see you. Nice to see new faces. But with that said, we can dive into the recap, and I think this time what we can do just put in the main Sunday plan that we gave last stream, and we can see that this one did play out extremely well. Doesn't really get more accurate than this, but of course we will recap what we did. So super quickly, on Monday I had woken up and price was rejecting resistance. We did recap all of this on YouTube, I know, but I love to do recaps inside of the live stream. I was waiting for one more high to then open a short position. We got the drop before putting a new high, so I didn't catch a short position. Then I just left the charts, okay, so there's no trade to take at this point. When I came back the next day, we had put in a new high on the Asian session. Unfortunately, I was asleep and actually forgot to put an alert above this high, so I was not able to wake up to track the price action, but still we had a very nice imbalance on the 1 hour, and on 30 minutes we had a very nice wick. On the 30 minutes, the 1 hour wick was a bit too big, but then it got revisited before offering lower prices. I had missed the short because I was asleep as mentioned. Not a problem, I just wanted to short local bounces, which I did catch a very nice short. We got a pretty big drop to the downside, had implemented a take profit 1 and moved my stop loss in profits at 104.7. And as you can see, after I opened my short position, which was literally up there, we got a pretty big drop to the downside. And before going to sleep, price was hovering above support. However, we had just one 30-minute imbalance down there, which did end up offering the low. The next day I woke up and I did get stopped at the rest of my short position because once again the stop loss was in profits at 104.7. Then at this point we did a YouTube update to just outline the resistance, which was this one. I did end up taking a short position. Resistance once again offered a very nice rejection. Short was very nicely in profits, and the rest after that is just history. First support was $102,000, which got front on this low. When you reached it, I did implement a take profit 1 on that short position, but the move was too quick to look for a low, so I did not want to open a long position. Did I say, yeah, no long for now because the move was too quick. The next day I came back and I just wanted to remain short and chill. Price continued lower, still in my short position. And on Friday, exact same thing. I just wanted to remain short and chill. And well, if we go over to the charts, you can see that this short position is paying off extremely nicely. So now we can remove the Sunday plan. Hurts a bit because it was so accurate, but we move on. We move on. What can you expect this week? My name is Christine. Nice to meet you, Christine. Hope you're well. So, what can you expect this week? Well, we can remove this resistance. That was a local one. I'm gonna keep that one. 102.1. I'm gonna keep this, but remove it once again. We have a 4-hour imbalance down there. 97 can be removed. Nothing offered there. And we did have a second support, if you guys remember, which was the 12-hour imbalance and order block. So if I add this, we can bring it forward. And as you can see, actually, this is offering a bit of support. Still not a good position, not a good long position in my opinion, but I will cover my view in a bit. Volume on Binance. 4-hour as well, that's pretty important. Okay, so. So first thing I have to say is that this was our second support indeed. Volume is very well. We have a 4-hour imbalance. On the 1 hour, we have 3 imbalances. So volume is pretty well on support. Now, with that said, I don't like this level for one main reason. And that was that if you remember what I said inside the Discord, what was that, on Thursday? Okay, so that was Thursday, right? Yeah, that was Thursday. So the most bullish plan, which is not even bullish in my opinion still, but the most bullish plan would be to close the week at the lows and then put in a low on Monday. So if I still follow that plan, the first part is being followed very well because we are closing the week at the lows. So I will still be waiting for Monday low, meaning that even though this is a support and the volume is very good, for myself, I would still expect another leg down tomorrow. So if you guys want, you can remove that support. I'm gonna keep it just for the sake of it. It's still an important support. But what I want to do is focus on these two imbalances. Remember where the low was put in? I did an update on Tuesday when we got this reaction. We had this daily imbalance. If I zoom in, so you take the top of the imbalance, it got rejected with a daily imbalance. So today, to me, the playbook will be the same. We have these two imbalances. I will take the top of this daily imbalance, which will be 91.6. And ideally, I would like to see a move tomorrow into this low. Now, with that said, the fact that we have volume here could offer a very nice scenario tomorrow. Because if we bounce, which is very possible because of the volume, what would I like to see? So we have an ugly high right there. Doesn't have to get taken out now. I'm taking my time, guys. I hope that's not too much of an issue. Let me look at the 30 minutes. Okay, we could bounce to there, but that would be too big at this point, actually. I don't know. So what I would say is that we get a local bounce, which we are getting while I'm talking, and that's once again, guys, we have a 4-hour imbalance and 3 hourly imbalances on our support. So imbalances as usual, offering reactions, but this bounce could turn into a bit of a bigger one, potentially take out this ugly high. Okay, consolidate until tomorrow, maybe Asia, offer a drop on Monday morning. That's already Tuesday. Let me fix it a bit. Offer a drop tomorrow morning, take out this liquidity, and then offer a Monday low on this level. To me, this would be the most logical scenario right here. Now, with that said, we need to start looking for levels to the upside because, as I said, I don't believe that this will be a swing low. Can go on the daily. Take this. Let me hide this again. The chart is getting too messy. Nope. This. So we have these two imbalances. Come on. 12-hour. It's a nice order block. 4-hour. Where's the daily open exactly? Okay, so this would be the first resistance, $99,500. You can see this imbalance is starting to offer something very nice. But then your second resistance would be that order block. This is what I would take as a second resistance. Daily, yep, with the daily open, we could make it even a bit smaller, maybe. I think that would be nice, actually. Okay, so don't think this gets reached on this bounce. Could be wrong, of course, but I wouldn't like for this to get reached now. So this week's plan to me, taking in the logic of the Monday low, up, down, back up, bit of a rejection, back up, break above $100,000, trap a lot of longs, and then offer that big reversal to the downside. Think that looks very nice. Think that looks very nice. I think this move up back above $100,000, filling the daily imbalance and the 12-hour imbalance. I think that would trap a lot of people into believing that the lows are in. So you trap them on the bounce and then you offer that reversal to the downside. This would be my plan on Bitcoin. I'll be honest, for this one, it doesn't have to fully play out this week. We could get something where, for example, the top of this week would be right there, and then next week we move up into there. So the reason for that is that I could see a scenario where we kind of go sideways for 1 or 2 weeks. Maybe not more than that, because we have range there, and you got a bit of a range there. So I think expecting another large range, time frame speaking, okay, so a couple of weeks doesn't make too much sense. But still, we could see a bit of sideways price action and then reversal to the downside. But that would be my plan. And with that said, I could hide the support now because it is offering the reaction, so you guys are aware of where price is bouncing from. Once again, I did talk about the support every single live stream that we did, which was $94,000. So for now, I'm just gonna hide it because it is making my chart a bit more messy than I would personally like. Now, would you guys like for me to do a higher time frame view as well? We could definitely. When will you take a TP2 on the short? Probably tomorrow at $91,000 if we get it tomorrow. What does need to happen? What needs to happen for you to flip bullish? What would need for me to happen to flip bullish? I think breaking back above these highs would be a very big sign of strength. So above $107,000. I think this would be a first big sign of strength. Yeah, maybe if we get this, I would be a bit more cautious on the shorts. But I'll be honest, guys, I'm gonna talk about the high time frame view. Okay, someone said yes. It's Christine, the new face. So on the higher time frames, the problem that I'm seeing for the bulls is that we don't really have any big support below us. $91,000, even though I am expecting a bounce and I am interested in longs tomorrow. Okay, guys, I am making this clear. If we get a drop and a nice reaction, I will be interested in longs. The problem that I see with that level is that it is not a very strong one. Meaning that if we lose it, my view hasn't changed. The only next level will be $85,000. And then at this point, once again, $85,000 is not a very strong level. So what I'm trying to say is that we don't have any big support left below us. This is kind of your last hope, which I am interested in longing once again. But I'm not expecting this to offer a swing low, meaning that if this is a weak support and this is another weak support, then yes, they could offer lower time frame reactions. However, I would expect price to break both of these, meaning to break back below this low, meaning dropping back into this range. So that's kind of the way that I'm looking at Bitcoin on the higher time frames. We don't have any big support left. That's personally my thought process. And of course, some people will make fun of that, but I will say we did share the short at the all-time high. I was pretty bearish inside of this range, and I did miss my short because my level got front run. But you guys know I was pretty bearish, and everyone that has been trying to remain bullish, which was pretty much 95% of Twitter, has got tracked on this drop. So the question is, when will permabulls learn their lesson? Maybe never. I don't know. But that would be my higher time frame view. We don't have any strong support left below us. And again, I'm not talking about any fundamentals, any M2 liquidity, anything that doesn't really matter. This is pure charts. And that's how, once again, we were able to predict the swing failure pattern of this high, the high at 116K, perfect price action last week. I don't use external confluence to confirm my bias on the charts because the charts tell you everything. And what the charts are telling me is that we don't have very strong support levels left below us. So I hope I am clear on that. But look, we'll have to see tomorrow. Maybe we get the long off of $91,000 and then this turns into a massive trade. Not expecting this to happen, but you know, it's a scenario that's possible. So I'm not gonna dismiss it completely. So I'm gonna move on to altcoins. If you guys have any more questions on Bitcoin, of course, let me know. Maybe I didn't make myself clear enough. Okay, so any questions, let me know in the live chat, guys. Now we can move on to Ethereum. I'll be honest, I didn't even look at this once this week. Let's see what happened. That was pretty good. Look, pretty good. That was the resistance shared on Sunday. Offered a beautiful rejection, just like Bitcoin. That was the support. Offered a pretty good bounce. And then overall, I was looking for this low to get taken out, which it did get taken out just now, actually. So Ethereum, this one played out pretty well as well. Pretty good as well. Do we have anything left now on Ethereum? So we had outlined this low to 2,900. This would still be my target, my first target for this drop, 2,900. We can move to daily open. I don't know if I want to outline a plan on Ethereum, guys. I think it will just follow Bitcoin, so you can just apply this plan to Ethereum. Do you guys want me to outline something on Ethereum? I just think it will follow Bitcoin. Thank you so much. Sincerely appreciate your TAs. You don't need to do this at all, yet you do. It's really big help for the new. Look, it's always my pleasure. I do enjoy doing this, and we do it all for free, guys. So I don't ask this very often, but if you guys could leave a like on the live stream, that would be very appreciated. But it's my pleasure to do this, so I will keep on doing this for as long as I can. But thank you for the kind comment. I do appreciate those a lot, so thank you. Do you guys want me to do a plan on Ethereum? Does anyone want me to do a plan on Ethereum? Because once again, I do believe that it will just follow Bitcoin. Do you think I think you understood from my reaction. Do you think Bitcoin dominance? I know you don't like to look at it, but will increase if BTC drops further. Look, I don't know, man. I really don't look at Bitcoin dominance. I don't think it's very interesting. I don't think it offers much. Everyone that has been telling you to buy altcoins, I mean, wow, what happened to them? You know, everyone was so bullish this week on Twitter, giving long after long, they get wrecked and then they go quiet. That's literally always what happens. So, I mean, there's not much for me to analyze on Bitcoin dominance. This is not a very technical chart. There's not much for me to say, but I kind of have to admit that my view of the market on what would happen on what would happen if we are in a bear market. Let me see something. Would someone make fun of me for this call? Send it back up to freaking 80%, honestly. Send Bitcoin dominance back up to 80%. I don't want to see any more scams in crypto, any more shit coins, any more like Bangu. Look at these. Look at these. What is this? Send all of these coins to zero and send Bitcoin dominance back up. I think that would make sense. So for your question, I would say, again, I'm not a big Bitcoin dominance guy, so take this with a grain of salt. I would expect it to get back probably to this week, honestly, at some point. 79%, so as I said, 80%. But once again, this is not going to affect my view on the market. I have no use for this chart. I never look at it. I cannot do technical analysis on it just because, I mean, it's not a technical chart. But for my personal fundamental view on crypto, I would say send it back up to 80%. And it's time to maybe send some altcoins to zero. The interesting thing about this bear market is that we did get some sort of almost a reset. And see, if we go back and look at these big wicks on the altcoins, you can see, for example, Link was at $27, it dropped to $7. So this is kind of, in my opinion, a bit of a quick view into what could happen if most altcoins go to zero. It's just, it would be a crash like this on altcoins below this wick, somewhere towards $0, and maybe it's time to get a bit of a clean in the crypto industry. But look, guys, I know I'm sounding very bearish, but my view on the charts will and never has changed. I will long support if we have a good reaction, and I will short resistance if we have a good reaction. It doesn't really matter what I expect on the higher time frames. The levels will not change. 91.6, you lose this, I will expect $85,000, in which case, okay, $85,000, you have to expect to break back below this low, so pretty much a move back towards $60,000, which in my opinion is at this point likely to happen. This doesn't look like we are forming a low, doesn't look like fear is high enough, doesn't look like we've had a big liquidation event. We didn't spend enough time at these lows to start talking about a bottom. There's just no reason for me to expect a low to form here. I think okay. Yeah, 80%. I really like that. Thank you for your some sort of prediction. And I think that analyzing alts at the moment does not really benefit anything. So we'll just do a recap on the predictions that we made. Ethereum, I mean, this one did play out very well. As you can see, resistance shared last week offered a massive drop. If you took it, I am interested to see actually this one, how much it offered. 16%. I think that's even better than Bitcoin, right? Yeah, that's better than Bitcoin, what I'm talking about. But of course, your position sizing will be a bit different. Solana, did we have a prediction? 29th. So that was not last week, but this resistance unfortunately did not get reached. I do remember analyzing one resistance that I liked very much, Zcash. That did offer a very amazing rejection. From the resistance to the low, this would have been a move of 37%, almost 40% from the only resistance shared, but even then this coin is actually back up above that resistance, which is kind of crazy. Low-key kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, we can do a quick analysis on. Look, Ethereum, guys, first level $2,900. Solana, I don't have much to say. This was a low that we predicted, which was a very important one, and the fact that we are moving back towards it is a bit of a problem. XRP, we still have this massive wick, and all of the other coins, we just have these massive ugly wicks to the downside, which at this point, I do have to say, I didn't expect it at first, but it does look like we could go for the fill of these wicks. So we can talk about the stocks, of course. Last week I told you guys I did fully sell AMD. I'm fully out of that stock. I sold Sophie 50%, which dropped very nicely, so that's nice to see. Robinhood, I did sell 50% as well. I am looking to add into the healthcare maybe. This is one stock I am looking at. The reason for that is that healthcare is very undervalued at this point in time. Um, I'm thinking about maybe putting in some money in this stock, but my main concern is that if I'm expecting such low prices on Bitcoin, I would expect the stock market to top out as well. We can put in one more high because my level does remain above $7,000. So we can put in one more leg up. That remains my resistance, but I do believe that it is time to take profits. At least for me, guys, not financial advice. For me, it is time to take profits on my stocks. I have taken profits, and I really don't care if we go much higher because I've made money. But looking at the stocks, maybe one more move up would be very welcomed into that resistance, and then we can see if we get a big rejection or not. Then you make it a bit smaller. You don't need to make it that big. From here to here, that would be your resistance. So maybe one more leg up on the stocks, but I'm basing this on crypto. If I'm expecting Bitcoin to top out, to half top, I will have to expect the top to come in the stocks because they're both risk assets. And don't forget, guys, about the dollar. This one has hit a very big support. We are seeing a reaction. So if the dollar does indeed reverse to the upside, I can tell you that every single market, including gold, Bitcoin, and stocks, will go down. But not much to say on the stocks except this. $7,000 does remain my resistance. If I get front run, I don't care because I'm not trading this. I'm just investing in stocks. But of course, hitting this and getting a rejection then would just be very satisfying. Okay. We didn't analyze too much in the stream, guys, I know, but look, I've been telling you guys, most altcoins are not looking very good because of these big wicks to the downside, and you can see that they are just continually dropping. You can look at Solana, you can look at Ethereum. I mean, every single altcoin is just getting hammered, it's just getting wrecked. Was that even the right word to use, hammered? I don't know, but every single altcoin is just moving to the downside, so I guess I warned you guys. And with that said, it's not to say that I was right or wrong, it's just to say that there's no very interesting levels on altcoins. That's what I'm trying to say. Please don't take it as I'm the guy who's like, I told you so, I told you so. I don't freaking care. I'm just telling you we don't have any very interesting levels on altcoins, meaning that when you don't have big support coming up, your overall bias should be that since you don't have a support, yes, you can have bounces along the way, but as long as you don't find a good support, which we don't have, you just have to expect lower. Look at this, man. Binance. I mean, what a bad exchange this is. What a bad. How funny would it be if Binance coin just drops to like to zero and Binance goes bankrupt? How funny would that be? I really dislike this exchange. And one thing I will talk about, maybe you guys want to talk about this, would be MicroStrategy. Is it time to liquidate Michael Saylor? Hopefully. Sincerely appreciate everything you do. Thank you so much for the kind comments. I sincerely do hope that that my analysis does help you guys. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you again for the kind comments. What price for gold and silver will interest you? Man, gold is just so expensive right now. Anything below $3,000, I think would be nice for gold. Anything below $3,000. Let me look at the Elliott wave counts because then this could give us a decent view. So yeah, I would say anything around $3,000 would be nice for gold. Of course, we don't have to get it, but the Elliott wave count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be done right now just by looking at, once again, the dollar, guys. Look at the dollar. You cannot ignore this chart. Look at the dollar. If the dollar goes up, I do believe that it is possible that gold has topped out. Again, I don't care about this because I don't trade it. So take what I say with a grain of salt. I don't have money in this. But anything around $3,000 I think would be good. Silver. Silver, man, I do need this to hold up a bit better. It's not super ready to drop yet in my opinion. But silver, I would say anything back below $40 does look decent. Can look at imbalances maybe on silver. So you have this one at 45, which is partially filled. So this one is a good clue on where silver could drop to, $45. But then the next one will be 38, with which I would like this one. So that would be a very nice area to revisit to just buy silver. Okay, so just below $40. Think, yeah, silver below $40 will look very nice, and then gold around $3,000 will look very nice as well. But again, this will depend on the dollar, which I just don't see it going much lower. I don't see this going much lower because it's the dollar. What do you think about the yen, JPY? I don't do too much analysis anymore on this, just because I think the dollar right now is offering the best picture on what could happen next. When you combine the dollar, that could have potentially bottom on the support, with Bitcoin potentially having topped out. I think these two assets offer a very good picture on what could happen next in the markets. So the JPY at this point is just not gonna offer much. That was where I analyzed the JPY. Yeah, I don't have much to say on the JPY. It just looks like it wants to go lower. But you are spending time near the lows, which on the other hand, if the dollar goes down, you could expect the JPY to go back up. But I don't have too much to say about the JPY. I don't want to say anything stupid. I don't have too much knowledge on this. I'm not a big forex guy. I just look at the dollar because I think it does respect these fib pockets, as I showed you before. This one and this one, it does respect them pretty nicely. And of course, it's such an important asset that when it drops a lot, even if you don't do technical analysis, anytime it drops below $100, it just makes sense. No matter how low it drops, it just makes sense to expect another leg to the upside. And right now, my view hasn't changed on this. We are below 100. It just makes sense to expect a reversal to the upside. And this time you have hit the support, and so once again, you combine this low with Bitcoin potentially having topped out, and that's when personally I get a clear picture on the market. Thank you so much. Okay, so why do you think Bitcoin is such a good clue for the markets? Well, because it's a big enough asset. So it's how much did it reach on this all-time high? Was it 3 trillion? Or am I mistaken? Okay, so let's say it was 2 trillion. It's a big enough asset that, so yeah, it is a big enough asset that it's important to keep an eye on. And it's also a risk asset, which means that, wait, I didn't say this right. I'm sorry guys. So it's a big enough asset to give you a good clue on what could happen next, but it's not that big where everything is super dependent on it. Is this what I'm trying to say? I got lost in my thoughts, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, but basically, it's a risk asset and it's big enough that it's important to keep an eye on. Meaning that the reason that it's dropping first is because it's not important enough that when people don't have a lot of money, they will put it first into Bitcoin. So let's say someone right now just has $10,000 to invest in. Probably what they will do is that if they only have this amount to buy an asset with, they will not buy Bitcoin with it because it's just not important enough yet. What they will do most of the time is, for example, buy gold, which is very apparent on this move, or for example, they will go and buy the stock market. It could be buying Nvidia, buying an index, whatever. But usually when someone has money to invest, the first thing they will look at will be either gold, bonds, or the stock market. Now, the stock market is a risk asset, so is Bitcoin. So in this case, when you see this risk asset, which is Bitcoin, go down first, what it's telling you is that investors are already starting to pull off risk out of the market. So again, what they're doing now is that you have this rise. Liquidity is not getting into Bitcoin because it looks like at least there's not enough liquidity in the markets to just pile into Bitcoin and get such a move that we did back in the past. Okay, so this move from 74 to freaking 126. There's just not enough liquidity and enough risk appetite to buy Bitcoin at this point. So when Bitcoin drops first, it's a good clue that investors are starting to take risk off the market. Okay, so once again, I think right now, as I said this, it makes a bit more sense. It's like my thought process, what I wanted to say is coming back to me. It's a big enough asset that you should keep an eye on it. Okay, so it's dropping a lot, so you have to keep an eye on it, but it's not big enough where it's the most important asset to buy into for investors. Do you get what I'm saying? So once again, Bitcoin is dropping first because this asset is not important enough for people that don't have enough money to just diversify into 100 assets. However, it's big enough to the point where when you look at it dropping, you have to say, okay, something is going on in the markets. It's not when you take, for example, Dogecoin. When Dogecoin drops, it doesn't mean anything because it's just a bad asset. So when it drops, it doesn't tell you anything. Bitcoin at this point, it is big enough so that when it drops, it is telling you something about the market. You just cannot deny that. Okay, this is undeniable, that's a fact. So I started pretty clumsy, but I hope that this makes sense now. Does it make sense, guys? I don't want to ramble too much on this because I was pretty clumsy, but I hope that you guys are getting what I'm trying to say. And I do think that actually it is pretty simple. I was just pretty stupid. I couldn't get my words out. I'm a pretty stupid guys. I'm a pretty stupid person, guys. Man, I can't even speak today. What's happening? I'm a market wizard, man. After this talk, I probably have to be a market monkey. When are you planning to make your trading life experiences? I think not anytime in the future. At this point, I'm pretty happy with my privacy, the way I have things. So it is something that I want to do, but at the same time, I really like the way things are going now. You know, the privacy combined with what I'm showing you. So what I'm showing you guys on the markets, the knowledge that I'm sharing. I think it's a good balance for now for myself, where I don't want to dive much further than that into like myself, life experiences and stuff like this. Nah, you know, it's just I like my privacy. It does make a lot of sense. Okay, thank you. Thank you for telling me that because I was starting to get a bit worried. Brother, that was bad. That was very bad. So, so with that said, if you guys don't have any more questions, we can do a recap on Bitcoin. I do want to talk about this one last time on why it's important to keep an eye on Bitcoin, but I'm worried that I'm not gonna get it right and I'm just gonna get embarrassed. So I think we'll be done here, guys. Except if anyone has any more questions, of course I will answer them, but I think we've covered enough. I've covered why very badly, but I've covered why it is important to keep an eye on Bitcoin. So on the fact that it is going down a lot, it is telling you something about the market, about investors' risk appetite. They are not interested in putting on too much risk, which is why they are not getting into Bitcoin, which is why it is dropping a lot. But a technical recap for the charts. Okay, this is what I talked about on Thursday. We can go back to this. The most bullish plan, which still would not be a very bullish plan, but still the most bullish plan will be closing the week at the lows, which is happening right now, as you can see. So closing the week at the lows and then put in a low on Monday. So with that said, if we go over to the charts, what level do we have below us for a potential Monday low? It will be, I would say, below 91.6 because it's a liquidity. Okay, so that's not a support level. It's a liquidity level. So give it some room in case it goes, for example, to $90,900, for example, that's fine. This is not a support or resistance as we had here. That's a liquidity level. So what you want to see is a move below it and then a move back above it. So this could happen tomorrow. At least that's what I'm looking for. Drop towards 91.6. Then after that, I would like to see a bit of sideways price action, which is why I'm looking for this bounce. The first resistance will be the fill of the first daily imbalance. From there, if it offers a rejection, this can offer a short position, of course. I would like to see a higher low, put in just one higher low, back up above $100, trap a lot of people into thinking that this was the lows, because $100,000 is a big psychological level. So get this very nice bull trap above $100,000. And from there, of course, if we get a nice reaction, we can open another short position for a big reversal to the downside, a break back below $91,000, and overall, in my opinion, a move towards $85,000, which, as mentioned, is not a very strong support level, so you have to be careful. So, any questions? For me, the fun really starts when you get worried. Okay, man. Okay. So how it is. So that said, it doesn't look like anyone has any more questions, but I think we have covered enough. Altcoins, they're just bleeding to the downside. Ethereum did reject resistance very nicely. So if anyone was trading Ethereum, you would be in a very nice short position right now. For myself, I am in a short on Bitcoin from $105,000, which was shared on YouTube, and overall expecting lower prices. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for all the kind comments. Once again, I don't say it enough, but I do really appreciate the kind comments. I do this for you guys, not for myself, and that's why everything is free. I love doing this. I think it's fun. I think it's helping people, at least some people. We're not super popular, but still, it's important enough for me to do. And with that said, I will wish you guys an amazing rest of the weekend. So, see you all tomorrow. And still, I am very bad at ending streams. Man, that was... Sorry, guys, if I talk like friggin' shit. But hey, it is what it is. See you tomorrow, everyone. And I wish you